Hi everyone. Today I'm joined by Thomas Hageman, CEO and founder from Seven Senders, and Leander van der Stoep, the e-commerce supply chain specialist from Your Suppliers. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Thanks. Can you just maybe give a quick overview of yourself, your business, and let people know who you are?
You can start.
Yeah, I'm Leander van der Stoep. I'm e-commerce supply chain specialist for Your Suppliers. Your Suppliers, to give a small introduction about the company, we sell personalized gifts, and we do that in a lot of different countries. We have 25 localized websites, so in a local language with a local assortment and all kinds of local things for the customer. So we look at local delivery, local payment methods, local products, local brands that we work together with. And we actually enable the customer to not just buy a product with us, but to give it a personal touch with a photo, text, or a logo, or an engraving.
All right. Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Thomas Hageman. Founder, CEO of Seven Senders. We are a Berlin-based company. We are around 7 to 8 years, 7.5 years now on the market. We have offices around Europe. In the main countries that are interesting for us. What we do, we have created a platform where online shops can connect to and consume certain tech services, software services, but the core business that is built on is actually parcel delivery. So we're moving parcels from A to B, and between A and B there's always a border. Yeah, so we never do domestic shipments. The approach is basically to connect retailers with the best or the perfect carrier for their needs in the single countries to make the customers happy.
Excellent. So we've just got a quick video just to take you through Seven Senders, just so we understand the business a bit better.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
Welcome to the world of international e-commerce, a world where speed and flexibility are what matter most, especially when it comes to delivery. Seven Senders is here to help you expand into new markets. Its network of over 100 major carriers allows you to deliver like the local market leader in every country in Europe, always with the ultimate goal of ensuring complete customer satisfaction. Benefit from established expertise and place your trust in Seven Senders as your key partner for all delivery needs with the Seven Senders shipping platform. You can take off internationally and receive support for all delivery issues, from carrier selection and performance analysis to label generation for all European delivery agents. Benefit from negotiated volumes and rates, as Seven Senders bundles parcels from different customers to create larger overall volumes for greater cost efficiency and faster delivery processes. Seven Senders' extensive network and proprietary route planning mean that it guarantees faster and more reliable delivery times than the competition. Direct injection into the local network of delivery agents saves you up to 1 day of delivery time. Furthermore, Seven Senders will also take care of your returns, allowing you to easily expand into new markets and win over customers. However your package gets transported, with your mobile optimized tracking page customized to your shop design, you and your customers always reliably know where an order is at any given time. Delivery to a home address or a parcel store by bike or electric car, paid for by cash on delivery or by credit card. Seven Senders stands for exactly this variety that allows you to meet international customer, cut costs, and operate more sustainably. No matter how many countries you ship to now or will ship to in the future, with Seven Senders, all your international shipping needs are met from a single source, with the right mix of carriers, logistics innovations, and smart solutions. For less complexity in the international e-commerce, what can we do for you?
Excellent. Thank you. Impressive, very impressive video. It's looking at the cross-border market. Obviously, for reference, it was 2001. I think I started working with in Singapore in Australia and working in the cross-border market. So a lot's changed, obviously, in the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
Seven Senders. Just looking at it from a business point of view, like just give us a bit of background, obviously, on how you built out that business and sort of what you saw as the gap in the market to bring Seven Senders into what is a crowded cross-border market.
Yeah, I think if you talk about the gap, you probably have to really go back to when we started. So 2015, the cross-border market was still very different to now. So many people can't actually, sometimes I find, try to get back in time. So now it's completely normal. And for sure, there are also several players in the market. And for sure, we were not the first ones to do it. Yeah. But if you go back to 2015, then the cross-border approach that we do was maybe done by Zalando, by an ASOS, by an Amazon, but not really by medium-sized or smaller online shops. Yeah, and this is something that we wanted to transfer. So we wanted to give every shop the opportunity to ship like a Zalando or to ship like an ASOS, and that means to choose the best carrier on the last mile.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned obviously a lot of your business is around personalization and localization for customers. Where does cross-border play within that? Because obviously the term localization makes it feel local, but obviously that's not the case here.
No, it's actually, we're not a local business because we do everything from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But we have since we try to be as local as possible. When a customer buys from us, they shouldn't have the impression that it comes from the Netherlands. We try to have as many things adjusted to the local market as possible. And delivery in that is very essential. So if they see a local delivery partner that they know, they trust that, so okay, this can be a legitimate web shop. So it's a kind of an image of trust that they see a local carrier there as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what's resonated through all the conversations I've had over the last 2 days is around customer satisfaction, the customer experience.
Yeah.
And I think coming out of the back of obviously the last couple of years, it's become even more important to offer that level of satisfaction. How does, from a Seven Senders, how much does that play into your mindset and when dealing with customers?
Yeah, I think at the end what we do is all about trying to make the consumer happy at the end, right? So for sure, Your Surprise and Seven Senders work together. We want to make Your Surprise happy, but at the end it's about the consumer who orders the goods at Your Surprise. So at the end, it's a little bit what we learned in the last 10, 15, 20 years, to be honest, also from Amazon. To put the consumer in the middle of everything. And if you put the consumer in the middle of everything, you really try to understand, okay, what does the person in that country want?
Yeah.
And we ask the question for the delivery part, right? So what does a Spanish person, what does an Italian person want in terms of delivery? And that is what we do.
Yeah, excellent. And obviously we know the stats, at least half of customers, if they have a bad experience, won't come back. Obviously you probably live on repeat customer business, so it becomes even more important, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really one of the most important things, that you build that trust with the customer. That if they buy something from you, because most of our customers, they first find us via pay channel or hear it from someone else. But unfortunately, the pay channels are still the main focus of the first customer entry. So you want to keep those customers. So what we promise to the customer, we want to also deliver on that, and even exceed the expectations if possible there.
Yeah, excellent.
It's the only way to go forward.
Yeah, and one of the things that really came through, so the business we used to have, Tamando, was around customer choice, with carriers and which selection of carriers. At the time, it was a lot of pushback from carriers, but I think given, we look around, there's so many of these companies now. How have you seen carrier preferences change, or, in the last 7 years? What's been the difference in people's
carrier preferences from the consumer side? Or?
Yeah, well, just looking at carrier choices, obviously from your side as well, but certainly from the consumer. Do they care which carrier it is, or they care more about the experience?
I actually have to pass this question on, because at the end of the day, what I don't see at the end all the NPS scores on the carrier choices.
Yes,
because we basically. What we do is we say to online shops, look, if you want to go to Italy, there's maybe 2, 3, 4 local carriers. This is the advantages, this is the disadvantages. And if you want to use more PUDO locations, you maybe have to use Poste Italiane.
Yep.
If you want to use more home delivery, if you want to have a certain service level, whatever, you maybe go to Bartolini. Not saying it's a better service level than Poste Italiane, but if a shop at all will offer 2 carriers and how it's chosen by the consumers and then how it's accepted by the consumers, that probably you can answer in a better way.
It can make a huge impact what you offer. We've noticed that often when we start up with a new country, we start with a general carrier that everyone can ship with. So like the DHLs, the UPSs of this world. But then we start gathering feedback from customers, and maybe a good example was Poland, for instance. We were very small in Poland, and customers gave us the feedback, hey, why don't you work with InPost? We want those lockers, that's convenient for us. Yeah, please start with that. So yeah, that's something that we listen to our customers a lot. Yep. And we had in Poland, we didn't have a very high NPS. But then we started with InPost, and suddenly we had an NPS of 83, which was for us extremely high in such for us still a small country.
Excellent. I spoke to InPost yesterday afternoon, so they'd be very happy to hear that they make such a difference. They did tell me that, but it's good to have it confirmed. So that's excellent.
Yeah, and also with other carriers, if you add certain services, it will really have an effect also on your NPS and also on your conversion rates.
Definitely, really definitely. And what's become more prevalent too is the tracking notifications and the ability to know where things are in transit. I guess, going back a period of time, it'd be put in the post and you'd say, 2-week delivery time, and you'd leave it. But that's not the case anymore. People have an expectation now, I guess, driven by Amazon and various companies like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 2-3 weeks, I hope that never was the case, also not beginning of the 2000s, but for sure customers have gotten used to a very fast delivery, also to very convenient deliveries, to choices. And what we see is that companies like Zalando and companies like Amazon have raised the bar over the years higher and higher and higher. Yeah. And I think this is also why all online shops will have to go that way. And there's no doubt that if you don't go that way, there will always be someone else who is selling your product to the same price, maybe a little bit more expensive, but much faster, no delivery costs, better carrier. So from our perspective, there's no way. As you do with payment methods, you also have to optimize on the delivery options.
Yeah, for sure. And did those delivery options and the notification processes play into which carriers you pick when you're doing?
I guess we do that with all carriers. It's very important that the communication with the customer, especially in our sector, because we ship gifts. So especially then when you order a gift, especially if you order it for someone else, because most of our customers order something. It's very emotional if it gets delayed. So if you don't update the customer when it will arrive, or if there is a delay, then our customer service has to deal with a lot of emotional questions sometimes. So for us, the communication with the customer is really essential, and they are used to the local carriers at home. So if we would communicate with a carrier that, like an international postal solution, for instance, that doesn't work. They don't know who is delivering the parcel. They don't know what to expect. They don't know if they are not at home at which pick-up point it will be delivered. So it's really essential to have that information correctly done.
Definitely, and any of the retailers, like I assume most retailers are doing cross-border in some form, or at least intra-Europe. Are you finding it's people more wanting to use things such as lockers or out-of-home or collection points, which are very prevalent? Like talking to American, obviously retailers and the such, they haven't used them up until the last couple of years, but there's been a lot of providers such as you mentioned, InPost and Mondial Relay and the such in Europe. Are they played into how you guys are sort of setting up firstly the outbound options, but then secondly with your customers?
Yeah, I mean the delivery options vary from minimum, let's say, out of home to home delivery. Yeah. But as you have more providers like InPost, like Instabox, but also other companies like Budbee, the field of services gets much wider. And as that happens, I believe a platform approach or any approach that makes it easier for the online shop to implement all these services will be necessary. Because at the end of the day, an online shop can never know which carrier do I need in 1 year or in 2 years in the country to compete. What is the latest service I need? So you can for sure take the effort and implement every carrier single by single. But you can also just get yourself some technology help and get the carriers implemented fast and easy. Because with all these services also come topics like label, tracking data, trying to understand the data, so having analytics over the data. And I think especially as PUDO services will rise more and more, it will get more complicated to implement these services. I said it yesterday in a speech here. So if you try to implement Mondial Relay, it's not really easy in your web shop, in your front end.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if there's any retailers now that don't have multi-carrier. Is there, are you seeing anyone that you're talking to? Obviously, no names, but anyone that's literally just using one carrier.
Do you mean multi-carrier for one carrier for all countries?
One carrier for everything now.
I know one or two.
Is it even possible anymore?
I know one or two even big ones, but they're also changing now. Yeah. But it's gotten very rare.
Yeah. So the multi-carrier aspect's pretty much standard these days, isn't it? So. The other part too that it's come up in every one of our conversations is around sustainability and sustainable aspects. Cross-border shipping has always been probably not the most sustainable because obviously the use of obviously a lot of airlines, trucks, packaging, etc. The last couple of years has been a lot more of a movement towards making it greener. What are you seeing from a sustainable packaging? Like obviously with your business, have you made that shift to sustainable packaging yet? And what impact has it made from your customers driving that?
I think we see it per country. You see a lot of varying demand from customers, how far they want us to go with sustainability. So some really want a sustainable delivery option in a shopping cart. But also some customers, they ask questions about, is our packaging made from recyclable materials, or what about returns? Luckily the returns issue is not a big issue for us because we don't have that much returns.
It's because of the nature of your product, isn't it? Like personalized, and they've selected it exactly.
And also in terms of sustainability, is when we create something for the customer, we always have high quality in mind. So when we ship out something to the customer, actually we don't expect it to be returned at all, because we want to create it in such a way that the customer will like it.
Excellent.
Also for us, the packaging, we have integrated a few new packaging lines the past few years. That all the packages that we send are the boxes are automatically created with as less air as possible. So that's already something that is going on, and also a lot of different projects in all kinds of fields, just to be there and also be ahead of the game in some areas.
Excellent. And in regards to obviously the Seven Senders side, are the carriers that you're working with, are they coming to you with these like green options for their delivery, or is it sort of like sustainable delivery options, so low CO2 options or green delivery? I know.
So from my perspective, so Seven Senders is at the moment concentrating on offsetting. And for me, it's very simple. Carriers are pretty clueless and have not a lot to offer. I mean, if you talk about offsetting, we all do the same. But what's a really green solution? I mean, so you can have an e-fleet, but you probably still have sorting centers. If you don't have them with solar or with any other more innovative solution, I find that's something for the future. They work on it, but you will have rarely a carrier that covers the country that it really has gone already a very, very far step. They have great plans, and I really mean it. So they do a lot of investments, but it's not. You can't say like, "Yeah, this is my green product," unless you mean offsetting.
Because we have found, in dealing with retailers, that people at times will pay more for a sustainable delivery. Like it's only even if it's a couple of cents, but they will pay for it. But if they haven't got the options, they can't use it. So I guess it's
I mean, but they make them charge for the offsetting in the checkout, right? Or
exactly. And with your surprise, like it's a competitive market, personalization products. how much does working with companies like Seven Senders give you an advantage, obviously over competitors, from anywhere in the world, I guess?
Myself, I'm really a believer of the multi-carrier strategy. I've actually been raised by it, but also what you see also with the newer generations. They don't want to wait for delivery anymore until it's convenient for the carrier. They want the parcel where they want it, when they want it. So it really has to fit in their life, actually. Yeah. So yeah, it's something that it has such an influence on everything that we do. And I think that even if we could offer that experience to the customer, it will really give us an advantage. It's an extra bit of service, it's reliable, also for the NPS, and eventually that will be the fact that gets us more return customers than a competitor who doesn't really care that much about the quality of the delivery or the services that the customer wants.
Definitely, and carrier mix, like a strength of a retailer, obviously with their carrier mixes. How do you approach it as a business when you're going to talk to companies? Are you sort of, as you said before, just giving them the options, or are you actually coaching them through the best way to get the optimal delivery pattern for them?
So it starts actually always in the same way. We're collecting data from the online shop, so it's a completely different start if I get data from a fashion shop where the parcel is maybe 2 kilograms and you have average parcel size of 20 liters or 30, and then you have a return ratio of 40%.
Yeah.
And then you get the next data from a retailer who is selling home appliances, where you have maybe big parcels like 50, 60 liters, almost no returns, and the parcel is maybe 5 kilograms in weight. If you put these two data points on France, there will probably be not one carrier, or there will probably exactly one carrier which I will recommend to both of them.
Yeah.
Because for the one you have to have a great return carrier in France, and for the other one you have to have a carrier who has great rates and good service in big parcels and high kilogram. So for us it's always a complete independent part of the offering is a consulting, and then we narrow it down to maybe 2 options, 3 options per country, and then it comes often down to KPIs. So E+1 rates, E+2 rates, and the prices, for sure. And we never have a favorite. We maybe have a suggestion based on data.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking, obviously, the last couple of years have been quite unique, I guess, with everything that's happened. For your business, what was the effect, obviously, of the pandemic? Obviously, coming out, speaking to a lot of the e-commerce fashion businesses that had massive peaks, and that might have dropped off a bit. How did you see, obviously, were people more responsive to getting more personalized and sending things to family members that they couldn't see and different things?
I think especially in the beginning of the pandemic, was a huge effect of people wanting to send gifts to their loved ones, to people they knew. So we had a huge demand that year. So 2020 and 2021 were crazy years in terms of growth, but also in terms of how quickly we had to react to changes in the market. So when one carrier was more or less going under in the volume, then we had to find alternatives, and we needed the flexibility to go from one carrier to another carrier just to cope with the demand and still keep a high service standard to the customer. So it were 2 years full of growth, but also full of challenges to also keep that customer satisfaction at the score that we wanted it to be.
Yeah,
and that has always been our key element in what we do.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's one of the advantages, obviously, in using a platform like Seven Senders is you can make those changes very quickly. If you've got it integrated as a retailer and you've got a carrier integrated and you do the integration yourself, these problems drop up. You're like, what do? We've got to go and do an integration. It's going to be weeks, months to get that fixed. So I guess that's one of the big.
If you want to
switch carriers.
Yeah, switching is, from my perspective, switching and trying is, from my perspective, still the the most underrated topic. I think it's for us sometimes also a bit easy to say, because I'm not working in the marketing department of the online shop. I'm also not working in the customer service of the online shop. So I understand that if you switch a carrier, it does change quite a few processes inside the shop, but I think you can also make some easy try and errors if you want to test some carriers without just changing the whole process. And why switching or having a fallback can be important. It's super easy now to say, 2 years Corona behind us, but there was a time in 2020 and 2021 where really some of the carriers were just breaking away. So the networks were just exploding, and depending on which country you lived, it was better or worse. But I'm never mentioning names, but there were especially 2 or 3 postal carriers in Europe that were just dead for a few weeks. And what we did for some of our customers, we created a fallback, especially in the one country, and just switched it over. But it was also lucky for sure that they had capacity, right? At that time. So you basically had 0 switching costs because we do the label. You have to change your customer service processes, but it's better than not sending, right?
Yeah, and getting very angry customers calling. Yeah. Have you found that, like, have you been testing different carriers at different stages? And you mentioned obviously going into a market, you look at the local one. At what point, what's the trigger for you to say, okay, we need to look at it? Is it based on customer service experience, or is it more just having those options, backup options?
I think it's a combination of both. Of course, we listen a lot to our customers, but it also has to be realistic for us, because we have some very small countries. We also have, for instance, a web shop started in Iceland. We do not have a lot of volume to Iceland, unfortunately. Maybe we're a market leader there, I don't know. But it would be unrealistic for us to have a local hero solution in Iceland at this point in time, even though customers might ask for it. So it's really a combination of seeing what's out there in the market, or what platforms can offer us for certain countries. Then we use those two combined to see how we can optimize. That will be a continuing process, and some countries we have to test a lot of different carriers until we find the right one. That really fits in our business model, in the way how we want to approach customers.
Definitely, and from an analytics point of view, obviously a lot of these decisions for companies, making massive decisions, changing carriers and changing customer experience. How much is the data analytics come into from the moment you started Seven Senders to now? Is that greatly changed with the advent of AI and different?
So first of all, I know I sound a bit stupid, but I never understand why switching a carrier is such a big thing. I mean, if I go now in terms of like, if I go to an online shop which I like, and my NPS was good, if there is a second choice available, or for maybe 4 days in summer you testing another carrier, I think that can be something that's really worth trying, and will probably not mess up your conversion in the long run. And you can actually maybe save a lot of money if the test goes well for the future. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to switch, if you don't want to test it, then you can still rely on data. So our problem at the beginning, when we founded the company, was we didn't have any data. And the data from the carriers, that I'm not going to comment on that one. So our problem was that we didn't have any data. The good thing was that the market was underdeveloped. So we went to customers, and maybe in 2015, if you said, okay, in Austria we have the Austrian Post, and in Switzerland we have the Swiss Post, and in France you have the French Post, then everyone was kind of happy, right? And then you were collecting data, and you were starting several carriers per country, and then after a while you have the data, and if you put the data next to each other, you actually start understanding which carrier is good in which region and in which zip code and maybe in which street. So I can tell you in which street in France which carrier has on a Monday the best E+1 rate, and on a Tuesday and on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's.
But you need a lot of data for that, because you can't just take like a few thousand parcels. That doesn't work. But if you have data over years, then you can really compare them. And if I look at Germany, for sure we are a DHL country. Everyone knows that, but it's not the whole country. There are parts of Germany where other carriers are better.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what is better? If you talk to a marketing person, better is always the logo. Yeah? If you talk to a logistics person, better for me is FDA success rate, maybe an NPS score if you have it, speed, delivery days, options to pick it up somewhere else, etc.
Yeah, cool. And we haven't even touched on price, which is funny because years ago, if you did this talk, everyone would be talking about price, but we probably should talk about it. Have you seen a difference in how people react to these different carrier options? Do you just price it the same way and take it on board, or do you sort of charge based on which option they choose?
I think in terms of pricing, we always look at our local competitors.
Yeah.
But competing on price for us is always difficult, because there's always a big distance between us and, for instance, in Poland, for instance. So in Poland, they're used to free shipping. That's something that we cannot offer. So we have to compete on other fields. So we have to compete on quality, on customer experience, and see how we go from there. But we always try to have a competitive pricing in the countries where we have a website, where we are active.
Yeah, we used to the Tamando. We used to have free shipping in there because it was very standard at that stage. We used to have the cheapest of carriers and all that, but they didn't get all the business. So it wasn't always free. It wasn't always the cheapest. The service obviously made a difference. Has that changed at all? Have you seen it? Obviously, I've been out of the game a couple of years, but is free shipping still a thing? Like, are people still expecting that?
Free shipping for him, or free?
It's not free. Well, it's not free. Someone's paying. Free
shipping for the consumer.
The consumer, yeah.
Look, I don't have an online shop, but I mean, I'm a consumer, and I talk to clients. So he just said, I think because of your business model, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess the AOV or the margin is so low that you have to take shipping costs.
Yeah.
If you run a business with an average basket value of 300 euros and you are in fashion, you maybe don't have to charge shipping costs. I don't know. So I think for me, it's very much about the retailer I talk to. If I talk to someone who sells USB cables, so let's say all the stuff that comes from China, 100 tons a day, for sure they need a parcel price around €1 something, and that means no tracking, that means postal service. Otherwise, the basket is too low to make money.
Yeah.
And this is like, I think it's case by case, or let's say industry by industry, right?
Yeah.
And some can afford to take shipping, or can't afford to make it for free, and some can't survive if it's not for free. I want to be honest, if I shop in, I don't know, Dutch Floris van Bommel shoe, I expect the shipping to be for free. So shoe is too expensive to not have it for free. My opinion as a consumer.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the last couple of months things change. Like Zara's charging for returns now. I noticed the other day. I know Amazon set everyone off on free shipping and then started charging for grocery deliveries in the US. So they've got everyone doing free shipping and losing money, and then they've switched it up. But are you sort of thinking like you can't do free shipping, as you said, but where are you sort of taking in terms of the carrier pricing and all that? Do you think it's going to have an impact? There's a lot of things happening in the market at the moment. Fuel prices, everything. Are they coming to you sort of saying, price is going to go up, there's inflation, different things like that? Is that going to make a massive impact to you as a business?
That does have a massive impact.
Yeah.
Of course, we have an average basket value that is a lot lower than the 300 euros. So we don't sell expensive clothing. We sell mugs, keychains, glasses, chocolate. So they're not expensive products. There's a lot of emotion to it, and we also notice that when we ask a price for a product that has good quality, and that also is with regard to the delivery service. So what we try to do, if we have a premium delivery services that give something extra to the customer, then we are able to charge that cost also to the customer. If we offer a very bad delivery service to that same customer and charge the same, then we would be in trouble, and that customer wouldn't return.
Yeah.
But if we give that customer a nice experience, also just beyond paying for the product and the shipping, but we really deliver on that promise and build that trust with the customer, then it matters a bit less in the eyes of the consumer. But yeah, of course, both the carrier and ourselves, we have to survive in the end.
Yeah.
And it's also partnership. So you start looking at innovative ways of how can we work with those added fuel costs, those added costs that you get due to the inflation, but still maintain volumes, maintain the growth, still have the same kind of service towards the customer.
Yeah.
So and then it's like moving customers to more innovative services, moving customers to out-of-home options, which are better for the carrier because they have to only stop at one point. So one locker or one put-up point. Instead of that, they have to drive past 10 houses to deliver parcels, and 9 out of 10 customers are not at home. So they have to attempt again the next day. So that's a lot more work. So we try to be innovative in that way and see how we can work together with all our delivery partners in seeing how we can decrease the impact for the both of us. So
excellent.
So it's a challenging time, but it's also a time to innovate and also maybe add a bit of extra motivation to the customer to choose for the better delivery options that are also sustainable for the future.
Excellent. So I've probably got 2 questions for you both, sort of to conclude. One is what you think are the biggest challenges, obviously for cross-border in 2022, and the second one is what's next. What innovations or where do you see cross-border going in the next couple of years off the back of that? So I guess challenges first.
What was the second one?
Innovations.
Innovations.
What's coming?
I don't think there's a challenge for cross-border this year. The parcel networks are empty.
Yep.
And the main challenge is probably for the carriers because they have hired too much staff, which you're missing now at the airports.
Yep.
And they have built new hubs, and I'm not sure what's going to do to the prices, because if you put a lot of investments from the Corona times and you think that the world is just going to go up,
and it goes
I think the problem to all of us is the crisis that's just starting. But I don't think there will be delivery problems in 2022, and it's very quiet, right? Yeah. So performances on the last mile are, in general, I would say at the moment, very stable and very high.
Yeah. And what about things like cross-border duties and taxes, compliance and the such? There's obviously a few providers walking around like Hurricane and the such that do cross-border duties and taxes. Is that been an issue? I know Brexit, obviously living in the UK now, Brexit was, didn't go too smoothly. There was quite a few issues, but...
So you mean those, like if you have to pay duties now?
Duties and taxes and...
Yeah, I mean, taxes I'm not an expert in. When you come to the duties, the Brexit was 100% a big challenge for everyone. Yep. If you see that a lot of English retailers basically took the decision very early to leave England and open a lot of warehouses in the Netherlands, yep. Also around Liège or somewhere in that region. I think that was a clever move because the Brexit was really not a great idea for trade. And it brought for sure another opportunity for service providers because you have to solve a complexity. But I must say, so we won a lot of customers for the Brexit solution, but we have also lost a lot of volumes because a lot of our customers for the UK had much bigger volumes before, because they're now struggling to sell the same amounts. So I don't know. I think it's a loss for everyone, especially for the consumers. things got more expensive. The offerings got probably less if you live in England, and it's just costing more. But to overcome that border, there are solutions. We're also doing customs clearance to the UK together with a partner, MS Direct from Switzerland. So yeah, there are solutions, but it remains a problem.
Yeah. And I guess we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'll flip to you. Like, what would you like to see for the future, like the changes, or what do you think's going to happen off the back of all of these challenges?
I think a lot of things are driven by the big players. They offer things to customers that the smaller companies cannot offer yet.
Yeah.
But the future will be a lot of AI. So customers will have even more convenient ways, like driving PUDO points through the cities, and they will have the parcel anywhere they like at any point that they like. So it will be, you see a lot of demand from customers to really have parcel delivery fit in their lives, one way or another.
And I got 2 days without mentioning the metaverse, but you're in personalization products and all that. Is Web3 metaverse something that you're discussing about how you can reach out to people?
Yeah, everything becomes more personal. So it's about knowing your customer, because customers expect that you know them. Even always have to be a bit careful with that, of course, because then sometimes customers, hey, how do you know that about me? You're not supposed to know that. Of course, that was an algorithm of that and that company, and but still, it will be a more targeted world. Everybody will have a customized experience if they do exactly the same thing. So, and that is something that definitely on the web shop side of the business will be something that will happening. But eventually that will happen also in the logistics side of the business.
Yeah.
We require more flexibility, more resilience,
and bringing the two together. Like taking from sort of virtual to real, which some companies like Nike are doing really well now. So for sure. So we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Was there any questions in the crowd? No?
No
I
questions.
think we covered everything. That must be good. That's it? No? Last chance? No. Good. No problem. Well, thanks guys for coming.
Sure.
Great chat. We literally getting cut off, so we did a really good job of covering a lot of topics. 100%. So that was excellent. Enjoy and safe travels home when you go. Thanks.